Welcome back to another explainer. Today, we're doing something really fascinating. We are literally deconstructing a masterclass in real-time political cooperation. Have you ever watched two politicians with, vastly different ideologies manage to stand right next to each other, smile, and actually find common ground? Well, we have a pristine example to look at today. A recent, totally unscripted exchange between Donald Trump and Zohran Mamdani. We're going to look beneath the surface, zeroing in on their exact words to uncover the literal rhetorical blueprint they used to build a bipartisan bridge. It's like a linguistic puzzle, and we're about to solve it. To get us there, here's our quick roadmap. We'll start with navigating the initial friction, move into bridging the partisan divide, then look at safety versus affordability, and finally break down the anatomy of cooperation. Let's dive right in. Okay, Section 1. Navigating the initial friction. So, picture this. The interaction kicks off with an absolutely explosive question from a reporter. Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist? I mean, wow. The sheer level of friction right out of the gate is staggering. Before any cooperative handshakes can even happen, this massive ideological grenade is just tossed straight into the room, and it instantly threatens to destroy the cooperative atmosphere both these guys are trying so hard to project. But watch how Donald Trump handles it. He immediately steps in and says, "That's okay, you could just say yes, okay, it's easier. It's easier than explaining it, I don't mind." This is absolutely brilliant. It perfectly illustrates a crucial rhetorical tactic, neutralization through diffusing. Instead of getting super defensive or letting the conflict escalate, he uses this surprisingly diffused, almost humorous response to essentially just wave the question away. By saying, "It's easier than explaining it, I don't mind," he acknowledges the tension is there, sure, but completely refuses to let it derail the agenda. He actively clears the air, paving the way for the actual productive discussion to happen. Which naturally brings up a really vital question for us. How in the world do these politicians transition from such intense ideological conflict to actually finding common ground? Like, once that immediate tension is neutralized, what are the actual rhetorical tools they use to pivot from a super provocative start to a productive, forward-looking conversation? That brings us to Section 2, bridging the partisan divide. Now that the initial friction is cleared out, I want you to listen closely to the linguistic bridge they use to actually connect. Trump talks about "this city of ours that we love," and almost immediately, Mamdani mirrors this exact sentiment, calling it a place of shared admiration and love, which is New York City. You guys, this is no accident. Both leaders are strategically using local geography and a shared pride in New York City to totally override their partisan labels. It's a classic move. When ideology divides, geography unites. By focusing on a shared physical space and a shared emotional connection to it, love and admiration, they carve out this safe, neutral territory where they can stand together. And Trump then takes it a step further, making the subtext incredibly explicit. He says, "I will say there's no difference in party, there's no difference in anything." This is a flat-out rhetorical rejection of party lines. He's verbally stripping away the Democrat and Republican labels for the duration of the chat. To maintain that cooperative facade and make sure the meeting looks productive, he's basically declaring that, in this specific moment, for the betterment of the city, partisanship simply does not exist. But let's pause for a second and think about this critically. Does achieving unity mean actually abandoning core political priorities? We literally just saw them drop the party labels and bond over New York City. But behind the smiles, do they actually surrender their underlying political platforms? Let's look at Section 3 to find out. Safety versus affordability. In this phase of the conversation, we see exactly how each leader negotiates their distinct policy goals within this friendly framework. Look at the stark contrast here. Trump defines the ultimate goal as a strong and very safe New York, while Mamdani immediately pivots to the need to deliver affordability. So they're standing right next to each other, projecting total unity, but they are speaking directly to their respective bases. It's fascinating because it shows that cooperation definitely does not equal ideological surrender. They use the exact same shared platform to push entirely different priorities. And to really drive his point home, Mamdani works to legitimize his specific priority by using sheer scale. He points out the 8.5 million New Yorkers who call the city home. That is a massive number, and it's a very powerful rhetorical device. By attaching his priority, affordability, to 8.5 million people, he frames his political goal not just as some personal preference, but as an urgent, massive, undeniable mandate. He's reminding everyone listening that millions are struggling to afford life in the most expensive city in America. And he doesn't just stick to abstract concepts either. Mamdani really drills down into how he defines affordability. Right on the heels of all those bipartisan pleasantries, he lays out his specific economic agenda. He makes a point to specify that they spoke about rent, they spoke about groceries, utilities, and the different ways people are literally being pushed out of their homes. Notice how efficiently he uses his time on the microphone here. He accepts the bipartisan handshake, absolutely, but immediately uses that spotlight to rattle off a highly specific, targeted list of economic issues. This right here is exactly how a skilled politician maintains their unique identity while participating in a unity photo op. So, stepping back from the specific policies of safety and rent for a minute, what can we actually learn from the underlying structure of this brief interaction? If we just strip away the names, strip away the specific city, what is the underlying mechanical formula at play here? Let's break it down in Section 4, the anatomy of cooperation. Let's look at how these distinct rhetorical moves actually cement the partnership. The exchange ultimately resolves with a mutual commitment to action, which is the final pillar of this whole cooperative structure. Trump says, "We're going to be helping him." And Mamdani says, "I look forward to working together to deliver that affordability." They are both enthusiastically agreeing to move forward together. But keep in mind what we just observed a moment ago. Their intended outcomes are completely distinct. One is helping to achieve safety, the other is working together to achieve affordability. They've successfully negotiated a shared path forward where they both get to claim they're working for the betterment of the city, even if their actual definitions of betterment remain completely separate. So to summarize this absolute rhetorical masterclass, we have uncovered 3 distinct steps for real-time negotiation. Step 1, neutralize the initial tension. You do this often with deflection or a bit of humor. Step 2, establish a geographical bridge. Basically find a shared, neutral identity, like love for a city, to temporarily suspend party differences. And finally, Step 3, pivot to distinct base priorities. Use that cooperative spotlight to state your specific goals without alienating your core supporters. Which leaves us with this final provocative thought to ponder as we wrap up this explainer. When politicians speak the language of cooperation, are they truly bridging the divide, or are they simply running parallel campaigns under one roof? It's a fascinating dynamic. The next time you see a bipartisan press conference, listen closely for those geographical bridges and watch carefully for the pivot. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this today. Keep learning, keep analyzing, and I'll see you in the next explainer.